I thought I'd left my past behind forever, until my sister's words at the family dinner made me realize some secrets never stay buried, and some truths hurt more than years apart. I hadn't seen Clara in 7 years. 7 years of thinking about her every day, of replaying memories I couldn't touch anymore. Yet here I was, walking up the familiar dirt path that led to her family's farm. The smell of wet earth mixed with hay filled the air. Rain had fallen earlier, leaving puddles that reflected the low afternoon sun. The farmhouse loomed ahead, its old wooden boards glowing gold in the fading light, just like I remembered. My heart thudded with a mix of excitement and dread. Part of me wanted to run back to my car, pretend I'd never arrived. But another part, an unyielding, aching part, pushed me forward. I had to see her. I had to know. When I reached the porch, I froze. Clara was standing there, hands clasped in front of her. She looked older, stronger somehow, sharper at the edges. The sunlight caught her hair just right, and for a moment, I saw the girl I had loved, the one who had slipped through my fingers all those years ago. But this Clara, this woman, was not waiting for my return with open arms. Her eyes met mine, and I saw something I hadn't expected. Caution, suspicion, even a hint of something guarded. "Adam," she said. Her voice was calm, almost cold, but underneath it trembled a little, just enough for me to hear. "Clara," I replied, my voice breaking slightly, though I tried to keep it steady. I wanted to tell her everything I felt in that moment, the longing, the regret, the years of wondering. But the words stuck in my throat. The porch creaked under my boots as I stepped forward, memories rushing back. I remembered lazy summer evenings here, the laughter that had once filled these fields, the secret glances we had shared when we thought no one was watching. I remembered the night I left, how she had cried, how she had shouted my name, how I had thought I was doing the right thing by walking away. But now, standing here, I realized I hadn't understood her then. Not fully. Not ever. She didn't smile, didn't invite me in. She simply watched, her jaw tight, her hands nervously fidgeting with the edge of her dress. The wind picked up, carrying the scent of wet grass and old wood, and I shivered, not from cold, but from the weight of all the unspoken words between us. I stepped closer, hoping for some connection, some sign that the years hadn't erased what we once had. But there was only silence, heavy and thick. I noticed the farmhouse windows, reflecting my anxious face back at me, and for the first time, I truly felt the distance that 7 years had carved into our lives. Finally, she spoke again. "You're here for the family dinner," she said, almost like a statement, not a question. "Yes," I admitted, my throat tight. I thought it was time." She looked away, scanning the yard as if she was searching for someone, or maybe something. My stomach twisted. Something had changed in this house, in her. And even before I entered, I sensed it, the tension, the quiet judgment waiting for me inside. I swallowed hard. 7 years of absence, and now the moment I had dreamed of for so long had arrived. Only, it wasn't going to be simple. Not anymore. The dining room smelled of roasted meat and fresh bread, a comforting smell that should have felt warm. But it didn't. The air was heavy, like it carried all the things left unsaid over the past 7 years. I sat at the far end of the long wooden table, my hands resting on the polished surface. Clara sat opposite me, her fingers drumming lightly on her plate. Her jaw was tight, her eyes flicking around the room as if she were counting the seconds until I left. For a moment, we just stared at each other, letting the silence stretch. I wanted to speak, to fill the room with words, but I didn't know where to begin. Finally, I tried. "It's been a long time," I said, keeping my voice gentle. She didn't answer immediately. Her eyes shifted down to her plate. 7 years, she said softly, almost as if she was speaking to herself. Then she looked up, her gaze sharp. "A lot can happen in 7 years." I nodded. My mind drifted to that night when I left. I remembered the storm outside, the rain beating against the windows, and her shouting my name. I had thought I was doing the right thing, walking away before I could ruin both our lives. But now I wasn't so sure. The memory was a wound that hadn't healed, and seeing her again made it ache. "Clara," I said, voice trembling a little, I never understood why you didn't try to find me. Why?" "Don't," she interrupted, her voice firmer than before, but with a quiver underneath. "Don't bring that up. It doesn't matter anymore." Her words stung, and yet I sensed something deeper beneath them. Something she wasn't saying. I leaned back in my chair, watching her, noticing the slight tension in her shoulders, the way her hands clenched and unclenched. She was hiding something. I could feel it in the air between us. I tried again, softer this time. Clara, is there something you're keeping from me? Something I should know. Her eyes darted toward the doorway, then back to me. A flash of fear, or maybe guilt, passed through her gaze. She looked away, biting her lip. I could almost hear the unspoken words she refused to say. The room felt colder suddenly. The ticking of the old kitchen clock seemed louder, marking the seconds with cruel precision. My sister across the table shifted in her seat, watching us like a hawk, and I realized she knew something too. Something I didn't. I tried to focus on the food, the normalcy of a family dinner, but it was impossible. Every glance, every pause in conversation, every subtle shift of weight spoke volumes. 7 years had passed, but the past wasn't gone. It was sitting here with me, alive and heavy. Finally, Clara whispered, almost to herself, I thought, maybe you'd never come back. Her voice cracked slightly. I wanted to ask what she meant, but I held back, sensing the storm that was waiting to break. Something was about to happen, something that would change everything I thought I knew. And deep down, I realized the tension wasn't just about us. It wasn't just about the past. It was about something else, something she had been hiding all these years. The room was quiet, but the tension was deafening. Forks paused halfway to mouths. The soft hum of the old kitchen clock seemed unbearably loud. Then it happened. My sister's voice cut across the table like a whip. Go find another table. Adopted kids aren't allowed. The words hit me like ice. My hands froze on the edge of the table. I blinked, thinking I'd misunderstood. My stomach twisted into knots, a sudden ache spreading through my chest. But then I saw her. Clara moved slightly, and behind her, a small figure peeked out. A little girl, 7 years old, with eyes like mine, wide and uncertain, as if waiting for me to understand. My heart stopped. I didn't speak at first. My mind spun, catching fragments of the past, connecting dots I hadn't dared to see. 7 years. The time I had spent away, wondering why Clara had shut me out. The nights I had imagined her life, the family she might have built, the secrets she had carried. And now, there she was. Clara's voice broke the silence. I didn't tell you, she whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. I couldn't. I didn't think you'd come back. And I couldn't raise her alone. I felt a rush of emotions, anger, betrayal, longing, but above it all, something stronger, recognition. This child, small and fragile, was ours. The living proof of what we had lost, the truth that had been hidden from me all these years. I reached out slowly, as if afraid the moment might vanish. She stepped closer, hesitating, and then slid into my lap. Her small hands clung to mine. I could feel her warmth, her heartbeat, and suddenly all the years of absence melted into one, sharp, piercing clarity. Clara looked at me, her face a mixture of relief and guilt. I tried to protect her, from the pain, from you leaving, from everything. I shook my head slowly, holding both my daughter and the truth she represented. Clara, I said softly, voice thick with emotion, you tried to erase me, but you couldn't erase her. The room felt different now. The anger, the judgment, the tension, they didn't matter anymore. My sister sat frozen, her face pale, realizing that her words, meant to wound, could not undo what had already happened. The truth had a power she hadn't expected. I looked down at my daughter. 7 years of absence, of longing, of pain, all condensed into this small, trusting figure. She looked at me and smiled faintly, unsure but hopeful. And in that instant, I knew that the ultimate revenge wasn't punishment or anger. It was truth. Seeing what had been hidden, finding it, embracing it, and letting it shine. Clara's tears fell freely now, and I held her gaze. There was sorrow, yes, but also a quiet relief. For once, honesty had won over silence. And as my daughter nestled against me, I whispered, almost to myself, almost to the empty corners of the house. You tried to erase me, but you couldn't erase her. The words hung in the air, simple but final, a quiet victory that spoke louder than any anger could. The past had returned, the hidden truth revealed, and nothing, not her words, not her judgments, could undo what I had finally found.